Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel today with a scout report. This is for a player that has been confirmed very late on transfer deadline day. We have eventually signed Josh King after a lot of drama throughout the night about whether he's joining us or Fulham. So today I'm joined by Per-Atle Karlsen, who is a Norwegian Premier League TV correspondent. He's going to be giving us all kind of the lowdown on the situation, how it unfolded, the kind of player Josh King is, and what we can expect from him. So, Per, thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Thanks, Thomas. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. So, we'll just kind of start on deadline day. We knew we needed to sign a backup striker. We'd had Tosin go out on loan. Obviously, Moise Kean went out on loan in the summer. So, I'm not sure how much, I mean, you know about the whole situation, but in your eyes, how did it all really unfold on deadline day?
It was a stressful day as always on deadline day, and Joshua King again making the headlines as he usually does on deadline day. And the first reports were from Southampton. They were interested in Josh King, but the deal stopped because of salary issues. I think that was the main reason. And then Everton and Fulham also made their interest later on the day, and then it was just a battle between those two clubs. And in my belief, it always seemed like Everton were the most likely ones. We had some reports saying he was close to Fulham at the moment, but then again, when as King has said himself afterwards, when Everton and Carlo Ancelotti was coming on, it was really a simple choice.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama. I think the Telegraph started reporting that he was going to Fulham, but then Sky Sports News come out and say that he's going to Everton, and it all ended up kind of boiling over. But eventually, at 1 o'clock in the morning, we did confirm him as a signing. So obviously, Josh King's kind of dominated the last few transfer windows for several Premier League clubs now, ever since, well, obviously Bournemouth got relegated last season, but he'd been linked with moves away to, clubs like Manchester United in the past, and those moves didn't materialise for him. He was kind of quoted in some quite big money transfers. So why do you think it's taken until now for a Premier League club to kind of go on and sign him?
I think it's been difficult. Last January when Man United wanted to sign him, he really wanted to go, and he even changed his agent to make that move happen. But Bournemouth just wanted what seemed to be a ridiculous fee for him, and it never happened. And since then it's been tough for Josh this last year, and not being able to get a move in the summer either. So I think when he got this option now, it was pretty easy for him. But I think that the main reason for King is that he hasn't changed club yet is because his salary fee is one thing, because he's earning good money, or he was at least earning good money at Bournemouth. So that's one issue, and then of course it's the fee that the Bournemouth want for him, and so it's been two sides to the story. But I think right now it's just happy to have made a deal.
Yeah, it does seem like Bournemouth have been asking for quite a lot of money for him for quite a while. I can't really remember the fees that were quoted for Manchester United, but when Everton announced the deal, it was described as a nominal fee, which I think we all had to go and Google what a nominal fee meant, because none of us had a clue what it meant. So is that just a very small fee? Was it 4 or 5 million or something like that? Because he is coming towards the end of his contract at Bournemouth, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it could be even less than that as well. So it's undisclosed. It's undisclosed, as you know, and Bournemouth and Everton has agreed not to tell anyone about the fee. But to my reports, it's not even 4 or 5 million pounds. So it could be even less. But anyways, I think this is a really good deal for both sides in my eyes. Josh King gets his chance to prove himself in the Premier League again, and Everton has the chance to assess King and get to know him, and he will also provide a really good attacking option for Carlo Ancelotti's side. So because this is a player that on his day can change any Premier League game. So if it's a good fit, it wouldn't surprise me to see the deal extended in the summer.
Yeah, and you mentioned there he does offer some good attacking and options. Well, he's probably going to start off being off the bench, but what are a few of Josh King's key attributes as a player?
He's a fast, really strong player. That's as I said, on his day he can cause trouble for any side, both in the Premier League and in Europe. And he's hardworking, and he's really has that winning mentality that you need on the top level. But added to that, he also got this. He's really unpredictable, and he can do things you just wouldn't believe is possible. And he has scored some amazing goals throughout the years. But I think his main attribute is his pace and his pace with the ball as well. So that's something that could really help Everton, because I don't think pace is maybe what you have the most of in attack. So that's a good option for you in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think when Cenk Tosun was loaned out, well, we definitely needed a striker. We were hoping he'd be replaced with pace, and I think we've definitely done that in this situation. And whether it's from the bench or starting, I think he will make a decent impact. However, what a lot of Everton fans have noted is his recent form. Of course, last season he didn't have the most prolific season. I think he only scored 6 goals in the league, and he hasn't scored in the Championship this season. A couple of goals in the FA Cup. So, what would you put that down to? Is it just general unhappiness? Did he want to move away? Was his head kind of turned from playing at Bournemouth, or is it a decline in ability? What would you put it down to?
I think that's a big aspect that you brought up there. That it's more or less a mental thing. He's really unhappy the last year, because the Man United deal last January window was a deal he really wanted, and when it didn't go, it was obviously a big blow for him. And then you had the relegation, going down to Championship with a high salary and with a high fee, so it was difficult to get away from the club as well. So I think the last 12 months for Josh King has been really hard. I think he's been struggling with motivation, and which you also could see in some of the national games as well. So, but I think now in the last games, he's been starting a few games lately, and he's been picking up pace. And I think that is, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the squad already, because he's, as I said, he's played some games in the Championship, and he looks more lively, he looks more like himself, and it's almost seems like he knew something was about to happen this January, because the last couple of months or so he's been working harder, even though he hasn't scored too many goals. He has a couple in the FA Cup, but not in the league. So, but I think this is a game changer. It could be a game changer for King, and I think you will get a player who's motivated, really motivated to show himself. So that could only be good for both sides.
Yeah, it does seem like a very good deal on the surface. He is a very impactful player, and that's something I wanted to discuss as well, because obviously when he was to sign between Everton and Fulham, I think Fulham he probably just would have walked into their team. I think he would have been guaranteed football. In this instance, of course, we've got Calvert-Lewin who's banging form. Richarlison he's gone through a tricky spell. Who obviously plays off the left. So is that something that Josh King maybe thinks is he going to, obviously he's going to want to start games, but how much of an impact do you think that'll be? He won't get into the team straight away, so he will have to prove himself off the bench.
Yeah, he will, but I think that's the challenge he's up for now, because he really wants to prove himself, and he wants to prove to everyone and himself as well that he belongs in the Premier League. He's, in my eyes, he's more like a Premier League profile than a Championship profile. Just the kind of person he is, and how he goes about, and how he plays as well. So I think he's getting motivation of playing with good players and playing against better teams. And I think this is a challenge he's up for. And you also get to remember that King's a player who can almost play in every position up top. So it doesn't have to be as a central striker. It could be out left where Richarlison plays, as you say, or it could be out right as well. So he's quite flexible in that manner. So I think it's, anyways, as you say, he probably won't start the first game, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him in the squad, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Ancelotti bringing him on. So I think it's a good signing, and it's a player that can offer you something else in attack.
Yeah, and from a tactical perspective, as you mentioned there, he can play kind of across the front three. He's played a lot centrally. Obviously, he had a very good partnership with Callum Wilson at Bournemouth before he left to Newcastle. So, and we are quite a tactically fluid team ourselves. We played 4-3-3, 4-4-2 at times. So, I know it's tricky because he does play in kind of quite a few positions quite well, but where do you see his, his absolute best position, and maybe who do you see him linking up with best with in our team that plays already?
I think his absolute best position is as a striker, as a striker, and I think I really look forward to see James Rodriguez providing him with passes because playing at Bournemouth it's not the easiest thing to do because you has to carry a lot of the weight yourself, do a lot of things yourself as well. You don't have the same quality behind you. At Everton, he will get good players around him, as you said. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, really good player. You have Richarlison and you have James Rodriguez. So just seeing him in that mix, it's something that really excites me, and I think that could bring the best out of him. And as I said, it's probably as a striker he prefers to play, but he's also been doing really good, especially on the left side, cutting in. So it's a good option.
Yeah, and just my final question. We have signed him on a 6-month deal, until the end of the season. There's been talks about whether that could be extended. So is that a deal that you think makes sense? It is a slight bit of a risk, I guess, from Everton. He is on quite a high wage. Maybe hasn't done it for the last season or two. So is this a deal that makes sense, for both Josh King and Everton? And then maybe could you see it being extended in the summer?
Yeah, as I said before, I think it's a win-win for both parties because, as I said, Everton will get the chance to know him. He will get the chance to know them, know Carlo Ancelotti, know his demands and what he wants. And as I said, if it's a good fit, it wouldn't surprise me to see them extending in the summer.
Yeah, so that pretty much brings me to the end of my questions. Of course, Josh King is a player who's playing the Premier League. A lot of our fans will be quite familiar with what he's done, but maybe not for the last season and a half. So that's a brilliant insight. So thank you very much for coming on, and thank you all very much for watching. Do let us know down in the comments as my alarm goes off just before we end the video there. So thank you all very much for watching. Do let us know in the comments down below what you think about Josh King. Are you excited about this move, and where do you think he might be fitting into the squad? So as I mentioned, thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.